do?
We just cut you off.
Good morning and welcome to the Sunday Morning Sports Podcast. I am BA here with Keith Engel, James J. Trey Martin, and Jack Hirsch. Less least, but whatever. Anyway, and he's not coming on here. He is not coming on here with an attitude today. So that's great. That's awesome.
Well, give it time. We're only 30 seconds into the show. Come on.
It's not going to be a record like the Ronda Rousey Gina fight, right?
I'm like my guy Michael Spinks. He's like in my book of plug.
There you go. Yeah,
I got to bring mine going forward.
Yeah, finally Amazon got my stuff right, so I should be getting that book. And I don't know what the heck. Honestly, I don't know if they hijacked the truck or something. They didn't want to tell anybody. I don't know what was happening with my stuff, but anyway. On to, well, we're dwindling down in the playoffs for both the NHL and the NBA, so there's not really a lot of news going on, but today is the Game 7 with Cleveland and Detroit at Detroit, 8 p.m. That's on Amazon for the right to play the Knicks. This is going to be, man, there's so much silly stuff going on in between these two, Game 6 and Game 7 with the promotional thing on ABC is saying the Knicks are playing in Cleveland.
Oh, nice.
Game 1.
Script is out.
So, of course, you got everybody out there with the whole, oh, my God, they're scripting it out.
I've never wanted the Pistons to win so much in my life because I don't want to listen to these people if the Cavs win.
So what do you guys got going? I mean, what do you guys see in this game real quick? I mean, I'm not going to say nothing because I'm obviously biased, but what you got going on, Keith? What are you looking at?
Obviously Detroit regains, I'm sorry, Jack, a little bit of momentum, winning on the road big and coming back home, but they still need Cunningham to cut down the turnovers. I mean, he's still turning the ball over like a crazy amount. They need Duren to play a bit. He didn't play badly in Game 6, right? But he hasn't played great after a breakout season. I know you've been tough on him, Brian, but look at this game comes down to Harden and Mitchell have got to carry the Cavs here. I mean, I know Jack's guy is going to play a big part in it. Obviously,
Jared Allen.
Thank you, Allen. His name was escaping me for a minute. I think the Pistons have regained some momentum here, and I think they find a way to win Game 6 or Game 7 at home. I'd rather play the Cavs, though, quite frankly.
Go ahead, Jack. What you got?
Yeah, anything could happen Game 7. I mean, the Pistons have to be favored based on them being at home, but anything can happen. I mean, there's so much at stake for James Harden. If he plays a bad game and the Cavs lose, it's another year misery, and it just cements his legacy more and more as being an awful playoff performer. You've been very hard, and Brian, on Jalen Duren, and unfairly so. I mean, he's been outstanding for the Pistons. He's been their second best player.
What Jalen Duren do you see?
The playoffs.
Next to Kate Cunningham on that team, he's played excellent defense. He's shown up. And they absolutely should, play him ahead of Reed, in crunch time situations, without question. For the Cavs, it's not just about Harden and Mitchell. Obviously, underneath Mobley and Jared Allen have to assert themselves a little more. And I think the problem is that they defer to the big two of Mitchell and Harden. They've got to defer to them a little less. Allen has to do what he did game 7 against Toronto. He took over that game. He took over. Everything was on the line. He showed what he could do when he decided he was going to take over. And be selfish if I'm Jared Allen. Be selfish if I'm Ivan Mobley. And Kate Cunningham obviously has to have a big game. The supporting cast has to come through, notably Tobias Harris. I like Cleveland tonight, in the close game. Who would be better for the Knicks to play? Believe it or not, if I'm the Knicks, I would rather play the Pistons, despite the lack of success you've had against them, because the Cavs have more upside. If you look at their roster, more upside. Kate Cunningham himself isn't going to go off and pull, let's say, a Kobe Bryant and beat the Knicks. He's just not going to do it.
The thing is, though, Jack, if they play the Cavs, I know Harden's going to come out of that slump. And he's played pretty well. To give Harden some credit, he's outplayed Donovan Mitchell the last couple games. So
Exactly. Yeah.
So
we'll see. It's irrelevant who the Knicks are going to, who'd be better for them at this point. Who's going to win tonight? I look for a close game. But if it's a blowout, then I like the Pistons. If it's going to be a double-digit type game, I can see the Pistons going off. I don't see the Cavs going out there and dominating the Pistons, but it's possible the Pistons get off to a great start this game. And then we look at the end of the first period, it's 27-12 Detroit. If they take control of the game from the beginning, they might never relinquish it, Detroit.
So, Jack, this feels like a Saturday morning debate show, because you just drew me in when you mentioned Duran is playing an outstanding game. There's no way. I mean, series. He's not playing an outstanding series. You need a lot more from him for his size to be 6'10", 250 pounds, and just the optics alone, looking at him, he should be dominating the paint as a center position. He hasn't been. He's been a bit of a disappointment. That's why Reed has been coming in a little bit more. And as far as Jared Allen and Evan Mobley going, yeah, they should take advantage of that situation. But I mean, I will give you that he's been good defensively on them. But if Cleveland's going to win, it's going to have to go through. I'm going to agree with Keith. It's going to have to go through James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. You have to really have your guards, your playmakers on the floor doing what they're supposed to do. And for James Harden to be able to right the wrongs that he's done in Houston and in Brooklyn and LA, the Clippers, he's got to be the man here. He's got to be the man. He's got to take over. And I just don't know if he's going to do it. I mean, his history has shown he hasn't been clutch at the end in the playoffs. And he's been, the total opposite of what we're talking about here. And in regards to the Cleveland Cavaliers being a better matchup, I agree. I think they would be more formidable to play. I agree with you, Jack, in regards to them, because I think there's more matchups there. But I still think no one's beating New York, just the way they're playing right now. I mean, in the East. No matter who wins this game. And if I got to pick, I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going to go with Detroit. I think they're going to win in a close one here. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I just think that Cleveland's going to play their lights out. I think Detroit's going to play their lights out. There's still going to be some turnovers because I think both teams have good defense. I just think that the home team, I have to favor one. It's got to be the home team. But I would not be surprised if Cleveland won this series tonight.
Just to bring Brian into the conversation and continue with Duran a little bit, they're in a tough situation too because he's a restricted free agent after the season, right? Is he the player who played the second half of the season? Because he was really good. Didn't he average, 21 and 11?
He had 19 points a game, and
yeah,
he's not even averaging 10 points a game right now.
But somebody's going to give him the Supermax, I'll bet you. And the Pistons match that? And what do? They're going to have a tough decision to make. Which player is he?
I mean, the circulation going around Detroit is the fact that he's a young player and people got to be patient with him because this is only his second year. And I'm you kind of want to agree with that whole situation that he'll grow into and maturate into that role. But the problem is Detroit's had a center before with Andre Drummond, and Andre Drummond is basically the same person that, should I say Jalen Duren is the same person as Drummond is right now, as far as optics are concerned. Like Drummond was really, really great for us during the regular season, but when he got into the playoffs or, whatever, he couldn't get us anywhere. He was just, you know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of mixed on the feelings about it. Hey, Liz.
The question really becomes: are you willing to pay him and wait and have that patience at the same time? Because you're going to have to pay him to keep him.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to be another Miles Turner type. I mean, if you want to talk about his upside, which is pretty good, but
I gotta disagree with that, Jack. I gotta get because he's not. He doesn't unless he can. If he has a ceiling where he can elevate his outside game, because Miles Turner can shoot a three, he can't shoot 15 foot, can he? No, he can't shoot 15 feet out, and that's where he's limited. So he's kind of like you said, Andre Drummond. I mean, where he's only a box guy. He's only within that confines of like 10 feet outside of the rim, and so that's in today's game. Man, you're a dinosaur. I don't know if you even make it.
No. So what's wrong with playing underneath and just cleaning up? Guys should do that more. You just post.
But you're going to be more relegated to. He's going to be a bench player. He's a starter
be easier
right
to defend. He'll be easier to defend because then what's going to take his mid-range shot or a three-point. See, now the difference between him and B-ball Paul Reed is that Reed can hit a three. He can hit a mid-range shot. Besides going inside, the difference between him and Reed, however, is height advantage and how big Reed is. That's where Jalen Duren's got him. But let me put you in comparison. The last game, Jalen Duren had 27 minutes and 15 points and 11 rebounds, whereas Paul Reed had
10 from the field.
Paul Reed had 16 minutes and 17 points and 6 rebounds. Now, who do you think is going to be more effective? That would be Paul Reed. And Jalen Duren, now he can dominate games. He did it the whole season. In fact, while you're mentioning the series against the Knicks, he dominated the Knicks. Cat couldn't even defend him. Cat was being, I don't know what was going on with Cat. Cat needed to assert himself more in that series, I think. But actually,
he's just not a good
they
defender.
Switched.
Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah. But the point is, he was that's when Duren was really good when he dominated that series. But it's or in the NBA period when Cunningham went out, he stepped up. So I mean, I don't know what happened to that guy. I don't know if they're playing him different, if he's got a psychological problem going on.
It's got to be playoffs. You understand that type of player, you can play them differently once you get into the playoffs, and it's going to be a matchup nightmare. Let's just say you guys get all the way to the NBA championship and they face the Spurs and you got to face Victor Wembanyama. That's going to be a total obliteration of that guy.
No, nobody's going to be able to take on Wembanyama anyway. It's really hard to do that because he's a human cheat code. But in saying that, I mean, for the Pistons to win this game, they have to come out with the tenacious defense they came out in Game 6 against Cleveland. And Cleveland kind of rattled off a couple of points, and Detroit said, you know what, not having that today. And they buckled down their defense, and they just took it to them for the rest of the game. And that's what they need to do. When Detroit's on top of playing their defense, it is really, 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 really hard to beat them. So they gotta do that in this game as well. They gotta stifle them. They gotta. And Harden, man. That flopping guy, that dude, man, I cannot stand anybody that flops as much as he does. He's flopped so many times in that game, like that 1 3-point shot where he Cunningham went on a flyby trying to block the shot, and he and fell on the floor, which was good karma because you know what happened? His own player slipped on a sweat in the middle of the court and lost the ball, and they got a turnover from it.
They should start giving out cards like soccer for floppers.
There you go.
Because half the league does that. It's who wants to watch that?
Yeah, it's getting ridiculous. But yeah, obviously because of my bias, I want the Pistons to win in 7. But I mean, you're right. It could go either way. Depends on what team shows up tonight.
Well, Pistons, because we don't want the conspiracy theorists talking about, scripted.
And I wonder, Kenny Atkinson with Cleveland, is he going to make any adjustments? Because it seems like, the Pistons are all over the Cavalier ball handlers as they're bringing the ball down the court. They've got to get, they've got to have better ball movement. And I don't mean once they cross half court setting up for a shot, but they've got to get the ball down the court quicker, hitting open men. They've got to play, I think, a little quicker tempo, the Cavaliers. And it's hard with James Harden to do that because Harden's very deliberate and calculating the way he brings the ball
I had
down
to
and
disagree with
sets up
that
the
one.
offense.
I had to disagree with that. I think Kenny Atkinson has made some pretty good switches in he's made some
I'm not talking about personnel
strategic
switches.
moves during the series where he hasn't, those are things that they haven't done in a regular season. So he's trying to switch some things up. First of all, the defense, it doesn't make a difference. If the defense is playing on point, like I said, it's hard to beat the Pistons when they're playing that defense really well. And it doesn't make a difference what moves you make because they'll stifle you. That's just talent right there, just defensive talent. But I give it to Kenny Atkinson because he has made adjustments when he has needed to, and this is the reason why the Cleveland Cavaliers are in this situation that they're in. I think him and Bickerstaff have been doing very good jobs of making.
We didn't make the game 6 adjustments. Piston defenders.
Well, that was just pure Detroit willpower right there, Jack.
Yeah,
you got to remember they had that elimination type game against Orlando, and they blew out Orlando in that game, and they came back and they had to play Game 6. So I mean, you got to understand you put Detroit's backs against the wall where they have no choice but to win. Like this will be a game like that in Game 6. They're gonna play up to their potential, and this is what I can't stand about this playoff team because it takes somebody to back them into a corner for them to start playing well. Dude, just play well. You have to worry about being backed up in the corner.
Eventually the wall gives out and you fall through.
Yes. Yeah. So you gotta come out swinging. But that'll be at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock tonight, Eastern Standard Time on Amazon for the right to play the Knicks. Let's get to the NHL. Buffalo scored 7 unanswered goals to beat the Canadians 8-3. How the heck did the Canadians give up 8 goals and they're at home? And the crowd was outside cheering, thinking they were going to close the series out. And I was like, man, you guys got bamboozled.
3-1 they were ahead, right? 3-1 they were ahead.
3-1, yep. And they scored 7 unanswered goals.
Same thing happened to Buffalo the game before, and they changed goalies. So,
he changed back yesterday to how do you say his name? Luckin or whatever his name is.
Yes,
but he benched. But yesterday,
go ahead.
Lyon gives up 3 goals on 4 shots, and Lundy very quickly goes back to his starters. So smart move.
So is there any momentum going, Jack? Is there any momentum going into the Game 7 towards your prediction? Do you think the Sabres pull this out?
Hockey is wild. I mean, certain sports, hockey more than the other big 3 sports is so unpredictable for one given game. I mean, not even for one given game, even best 4 out of 7, things out of whack. Like a number 1 seed in the NBA is rarely going to lose to a number 8 seed, for example. In hockey, it's virtually a 50-50 toss-up, something about the sport. It's who knows what's going to happen like one game. It was in Montreal yesterday. You'd think they're smelling blood. The Sabres are going to be down. They're going to wrap it up. So now maybe we're going to think, well, they're going back to Buffalo. It's going to favor Buffalo. And, of course, you want home ice. But once they drop the puck, it becomes irrelevant.
They had that game. They're up 3-1 midway through the second period, I think. And they just, again, Buffalo just had a barrage. That's hard to come back from in my mind. You got to be thinking about that. You had this series in your hands to win.
Yeah, wasn't it a few years ago the Boston Bruins set an NHL record for the most points in the season? And they're up 3-1 in the playoff round, and then they lose 3 in a row. It doesn't make sense.
No.
But, it happens.
Yeah, hockey is the hockey playoffs are really hard to gauge. I mean, you do have your teams like this year. I mean, in this season, you really look at Carolina and Colorado to be dominant. And I've never seen that happen in the NHL before, where they're going to cream somebody. So I got Carolina and Colorado in the Stanley Cup Finals just because I just don't see anybody beating any one of them like that. And not in a 7-game series, it's not happening. And Carolina's just been rolling through the playoffs. You know, Colorado was doing that as first two, and then they lost that game to who was it? Minnesota. So, and I was shocked, and they got beat bad too. They got beat 5-1. I'm like, what the heck was going on in that game? But yeah, I just don't see anybody beating Colorado or Carolina. It doesn't make a difference who wins this game. I do like the fact that Buffalo has taken it to a game 7, because I like Buffalo, the fact that they've gotten the playoffs after, millions of years. And Montreal is still the Canadian team that's in it. So
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jack.
So if you ask the people of Buffalo, you gave them a choice: 3 Stanley Cups in a row or 1 Buffalo Bills Super Bowl victory. What would they take?
Super Bowl.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
What about 5?
That means-
5 cups in a
don't
row.
be up in the ante. Don't be up in the ante, Jack.
I still say the Super Bowl.
I do too.
Hey, we didn't. I know we left basketball. But we didn't cover. Game 1 is tomorrow for the Western Conference Finals. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
San Antonio and
Everybody want to give their
OKC.
predictions. Yeah, that's that. I mean, honestly, that's why. Only reason I'm mentioning it because that's probably going to be the best series of the NBA playoffs.
Slow down. Slow down.
Oh, come on, man. Come on. Knicks fans, well, I tell you.
Come on, we all get like this once every 50 years. So.
I'm on the train a little bit. I think they've proven to me like they look like they're one of the best teams in the NBA right now in the playoffs.
I would
And
One
they-
of doesn't matter at this point to be one of the best. That's everyone is
No,
one of
no,
the best
gotcha.
right now.
They got to win out. They got to win out in order for, especially for the coaching change to be justified. But definitely, look, OKC versus, I know it was 4-1 in the regular season, but that's regular season. I think it might be tough because Jalen Williams is still with his hamstring and still on the sideline, the number 2 player for OKC. And that's going to be tough for them because you got too many big guards for San Antonio, and they got to match up well. I think most of the players match up evenly, but obviously, as Brian likes to say, the human cheat code is there. But I like Chet Holmgren too. I think I mean, he's not gonna. He's got to defend him too as well. I think Chet is a great offensive player. He'll give you a double here and there in the games, but it's going to be tough. But game 1, I like OKC to go ahead and win at home.
Putting my bias aside, this is the better of the 2 series. I would agree with you. That's because these are the 2 best teams left on paper. Mm-hmm. The Spurs are young. I give OKC an advantage because they're deeper. Their bench is really deep, and they can overcome the loss of guys a little bit better. You don't just replace a guy like that, obviously, but. I think their bench is deeper, and the experience factor is going to come into play here, I think, a little bit too. Now, again, the experience factor gets to be less and less as they go through and keep winning series, the Spurs. So it's probably less than it was earlier in this playoffs, whatever you want to call it, the playoff run. But I'd like OKC, and I think this will be a 7-game series, though. I think it'll go the distance, and I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch.
And I forgot to mention, Jay Mitchell has been a really decent
very good
replacement for Jalen Williams, for sure.
I love their bench. I mean, they seem to be able to go 10 deep all the time. So other teams can't do that.
Yeah, that game will be.
Castle, Harper show up, which they probably will. And when Wembanyama doesn't go out with any type of injury, the Spurs are going to win, and it won't go 7 games. It's just, I mean, it's just better. You want to James dismissed the regular season. Well, now it doesn't mean anything in the playoffs. In this situation, it does. San Antonio winning 4 out of 5 in the regular season because OKC was aware San Antonio was sneaking up on them during the regular season, and they tried to send a message. They pushed, but the Spurs pushed back harder and showed a level of dominance. This 4-1 during the regular season is going to be reflective of what's going to happen in the playoffs. I feel, if anything, San Antonio has gotten a little better since they beat OKC. And OKC is the same team that struggled to win the NBA championship last year. They haven't shown their dominant team. It's a mirage because we think of them as being NBA champions. Oh, they're dominant. They got off to a good start early in the year. They were talking about setting an NBA record for wins. I mean, they traveled 7 games in the finals last year. That same team from last year is not going to match up against the San Antonio team. San Antonio is going to win. It's not going to go 7 games.
What do you mean they haven't shown any dominance? They swept the Lakers like it was nobody's business. They gave them,
come on, Lakers.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's still the next man in front of you. You got to beat. It doesn't matter, Jack. The next team that's in front of you, you got to beat them. And they swept them. I'm not saying that the Lakers were world beaters. They're not. They weren't. I mean, they were missing a player or two, during the series. But
Lakers were not
even with that, right?
OKC at any point, and even the Lakers knew that Minnesota was a threat. And look when San Antonio clamped down, they put their foot on the accelerator the last 2 games. This is a heck of a good Timberwolves team that got 2 rear end butt whippings. Okay, back to back.
They've been getting their butt whoops ever since. They've been getting their butt whipped every time they get in the playoffs. I mean, they haven't shown. Minnesota has not shown that they are a threat to anybody. That's you. You got to believe that San Antonio is one of the greater teams in the NBA right now. But so is OKC. You're saying OKC didn't do anything last year, but they won a championship. It doesn't matter. When you're a fighter, Jack, you may either win by knockout, you win by decision. They won by decision, and they still won. And they still look. They didn't have a second best player this all season, and they still held number 1, Jack. They still held number 1. What does that say to you? They're still pretty good.
They're a heck of a good team. OKC is a heck of a good team, and I would pick them to beat the Eastern Conference winner, whether it be the Knicks, the Cavaliers, or the Pistons. I would pick OKC to win that series if they get into the finals. But this sport team is the next equivalent of at least a mini dynasty. They're the next version of Golden State or the Kansas City Chiefs in football. They're that version of this. The only question was whether it's a little soon, whether they were a year away or not. I don't think they were a year away now. I think they've arrived, and I think San Antonio is not going to settle for just losing, to OKC in 7 games and feel, our time's going to come next year. I mean, they want it. They're ready right now.
One second, Keith. One second. The next great rivalry is not going to be the big cities in East and West. It's going to be the Southern teams here. It's going to be OKC and San Antonio, the small market. Come on, Jack. Come on. You are totally discrediting OKC like they're garbage, man. Come on.
You don't understand. When San Antonio beats OKC this year, it will not be a rivalry anymore because OKC would have passed them at this point. And San Antonio would have passed them. And OKC isn't going to come back and pass San Antonio again.
Why not?
Of course, Wemby gets injured and then they could steal a championship later on. That would be the only way.
They're not just going to go home and not play OKC. They're still going to play in the league next year.
But a rivalry means any team could beat any team. And after this year, everyone's going to acknowledge San Antonio is on a different level. It's going to be everybody chasing San Antonio. after they win the NBA championship.
So
this year. Everyone's going to be
so
chasing them.
So every time a team beats another team, the rivalry's over, right? The Lakers, the Celtics in the '80s, right? When the Celtics won,
That's a magic name, Lakers and Celtics.
I
mean, that's a magic
that's
name.
a nutty. I mean, that's goofy.
That's just goofy.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying OKC, San Antonio, but that to become a true rivalry. And maybe we're entering into that category. If OKC wins this series against San Antonio, then it's a rivalry.
Wait a minute.
Then it takes off.
Time out.
It'll only be a rivalry if OKC wins this series. Otherwise, it's no longer a rivalry.
How can you say that? How can you say one team wins, the rivalry's over, the other team wins, the rivalry continues?
Because the rivalry hasn't. It's just starting this series.
No.
By the way, so you're saying if it goes 7 games, you still don't call it a rivalry if San Antonio wins the series?
If OKC wins, it becomes a big rivalry starting as soon as the series ends for next season. Major, because San Antonio is the up-and-coming team, Wemby and the supporting cast. They would be playing the champions in OKC. The team that's probably going to be the champions, I'm assuming they're going to beat the East winner, but who knows?
So we should just.
Then it's big. But if you're missing my point, all of you. If San Antonio wins,
actually,
they're clearly number one in the NBA. OKC isn't going to come back and beat them next year.
Why not?
How do you figure that?
San Antonio's only getting better. You guys don't understand.
So is OKC.
Yeah.
They had a player that the second best player was out. He only played 33 games, and somebody stepped up into his position. They're like Keith said, they're loaded. They have an excellent bench. They are primed for a run for 2 or 3 championships.
And all in the
I agree. If San Antonio wasn't standing in their way, they are.
To use your analogy that you usually use, Jack, by comparing other teams of other professional sports, OKC is the LA Dodgers of the NBA.
No,
because
they're not.
They're loaded. They're loaded.
Not to that point, but you don't see OKC. Forget Wemby for a second. Look at Harper and Castle. They're going to just get better and better and better.
I agree with you, but
why do we think the Thunder's getting worse?
San Antonio, OKC's not going anywhere, Jack. Yeah. They're not going anywhere.
Just because they look
at Jack.
And I get you that San Antonio is getting better. They are getting better. This is going to make this a rivalry for the next 3 or 4 years because both these teams will be at the top. And this is the reason why I see I don't care who's the Eastern Conference championship in this year, because whoever it is, they're going to get spanked by whoever plays San Antonio or OKC. That's just the way it is. The Western Conference, those 2 teams are the strongest teams in the NBA, period.
Well, there's
one thing I will say is that there are, like we mentioned yesterday on the show, there aren't going to be too many dynasties anymore because the aprons are going to change that. You just can't keep the players like you want anymore. So whether it be OKC or San Antonio, they'll like you said, Jack, they'll have a mini run, like you said, but it won't sustain for like the Lakers or Celtics dynasties because you can't keep the players that you want on a team. It's just not sustainable.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, San Antonio also struggled early in this series with T-Wolves that were diminished because of Edwards' injuries and
Edwards played.
You want to knock down the
Wait. He played. You make it seem like
not at 100, but it's not at 100%, Jack. Come on.
He didn't play at 100%. That's not that team.
Edwards.
You want to knock the Thunder because they're not dominant, but they dominated the Lakers. But you want to say, it's only the Lakers. But
no, I meant they weren't dominant when they won the championship last year. Everyone knew they were going to beat the Lakers.
They were dominant in the series. You said they're not dominant. They dominated the Lakers in 4 games.
I get what Keith's saying, Jack. What Keith is saying is that you gave credit to Minnesota when they didn't have a 100% player in Anthony Edwards. He was hobbled. He was on his knee, hobbled knee.
He was still on the floor.
He was still on the floor, right? Right.
Edwards was fine. I mean, San Antonio.
He wasn't fine.
This team
He wasn't fine.
was no better than the Lakers at this point with the way Edwards is hobbled. They're no better than the Lakers were in this series. No better. And the Spurs struggled early in the series. Now I understand they dominated the last 2 games. Well, so did the Knicks. So by that logic, the Knicks are the best team in the NBA, and that's not true either. So
I get what Jack is saying. He's crediting the Spurs for having Victor Wembanyama.
I agree with him.
Wemby's hands. If Wemby is impaired if Wemby's impaired, okay, that changes everything. Don't misunderstand me, okay? I'm basing it on Wemby is going to healthy. He's going to be at his best. That's what everything is being based on.
Right.
But they're more than just a Wemby team. But without Wemby at his best, they can't beat OKC.
Look, if you want to crown him, Jack. That's all I'll tell you.
No, do you honestly think
We let him off the hook.
in the NBA championship this year and next year that they're going to repeat?
They
I mean,
could.
It's inevitable that San Antonio is going to win it. It's not inevitable this year, but it's inevitable by next season they're going to take over the West.
Still doesn't mean the rivalry's gone, though. That still doesn't mean there's not a rivalry.
It'll be a rivalry if OKC wins this series. It'll be a rivalry into next. It's a rivalry this series. Let's say it starts because they are the defending champions, OKC, and San Antonio is the upstart. But I'm going to tell you this. If San Antonio wins in 4 or 5 games, the rivalry is snuffed out at the end of the series. Don't give me opening game next year in the NBA, OKC against San Antonio, and say the rivalry continues. The rivalry is then done. I mean,
even 4 1-point losses.
I still have to disagree with that. Because you got to just re-up and reload because you have just like San Antonio has Wembanyama, OKC has SGA, and that you have who's likely to be the MVP of the NBA in 2 years in a row. So you got to give credit to them in that regard. But I agree with you in regards to it does diminish a little bit if they dominate. I don't think it's going to be a dominated series, but it would diminish what OKC would do going forward in regards to them being a rivalry.
If they dominate him, James, then I'll defer to Jack. But if they
I'll have to defer to Jack if it's like that. I just don't think it's going to be that. I don't think it's going to be
that.
But
if it's a 7-game series and San
say
Antonio wins a 7-game series and the first game of the next series is San Antonio and OKC, and they say it's going to relive the rivalry, that's legitimate, whether San Antonio wins or not. It's a 7-game series.
If it's a classic 7-game series where San Antonio wins a squeak on the 7th game and OKC's feeling we should have won this, we let it get away, it's a thrilling series. Yeah, okay, I understand.
Now you're walking it back.
No, I understand that. I don't see it getting to that, but the longer the series
moonwalking back,
the more it favors OKC. I'm just saying, if this is a 4 or 5 game series, who do you guys think is going to win? If it's a short series,
OKC. I think they're going to win the series.
Yeah, if it's a short series, OKC. If OKC wins, it's going to be a short series. If San Antonio wins, it's going to be a longer series. It's going to be 7 games.
I don't think so.
But I don't think it's really, to tell you the truth, if it's a short series, San Antonio didn't come to play. I'm going to tell you that right now. They didn't come to play.
It's going to be a long series.
It's going to go 7. I'm sorry.
It's always a concern that it could be 1 year early still for San Antonio. Maybe they're a year away. I think against the Timberwolves, they showed they're ready.
I was trying to think of an example of somebody who is going to definitely win at some point, and that's a great example, Danny.
Dan Marino. Dan Marino.
Now, speaking of
basketball, is so different from football.
A
little bit.
You can't compare with a quarterback. Look, Josh Allen hasn't
constantly comparing other sports.
He's one of the all-time greats. Come on.
You're always comparing other sports to whatever sport we're talking about.
No. Name one NBA player who didn't win a championship, who's as good as an NBA player as Dan Marino was as a quarterback. None. None. I mean, don't tell me Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing
that's the first guy I
wasn't
thought of, actually.
as elite
Charles
a
Barkley.
sense as great as he was. In other words, he wasn't as good as Shaq.
How about Charles Barkley?
The other all-time
Charles
great.
Barkley
was
a
Marino
great player.
was as
Good one,
good
Brian.
as any quarterback who ever played the game.
How about Charles Barkley? That's a good one. I like
Charles Barkley as good as Oscar Robertson, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird? Not
Oh,
quite.
yes, he
Now
was.
You're comparing
Yes, he
them to
was.
people that won.
Wait a minute.
You're
I can
comparing
also
to
give
people that
you.
won.
I can also give you 10 quarterbacks better than Marino. So you know,
Right.
come on.
I can't believe you just went with Charles Barkley like that. Come on. Oh, no. No.
I understand.
No,
Jack.
I just can't believe you just went there with Charles Barkley, man. That's pretty rough, Jack. That's
Charles Barkley was great. He wasn't as good as Larry Bird.
He
If you
doesn't
had
have
a
to be
choice
great.
pick- Wait. If you had a choice to pick one or the other to be on your team, you mean to tell me you would pick Barkley over
Jack,
Bird?
no, Jack, don't defer to
Over
that. Don't
Magic
defer to that. That's
Johnson?
not what we're talking about. We're
What's the
talking
question?
about
We're talking
players
about-
that are good enough that can win a championship. He
Oh,
said
no,
that player is
great
good. He can win a
players don't win.
championship.
He was a great player. He was a great player. I'm just saying, if I told you that Dan Marino was one of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time, I can make that argument. You might disagree.
Yeah.
You might say, no, not quite. But no
you
one's
can,
going
though.
to say, get out of here. But if I told you Charles
Statistically, yes.
Barkley was one of the top 5 NBA players of all time,
Stop right there. Stop right there.
Get
Stop
out
right
of
there.
here.
Stop right there. Because you just compared apples to oranges. You said Marino as one of the top 5 quarterbacks. You didn't say NFL players. And you just said put Charles Barkley top 5 NBA players. No, compare apples to apples. As power forward, he would definitely be top 5 for his height. Definitely. Come on. He would definitely be top 5 for his height, for what he
I
did.
love the asterisk
Stop.
for his height. Yeah, for his limitations. And
Hell yeah. I mean, 6'4" and dominating like that? Power forwards are usually 6'7", 6'8".
On height, I mean,
But he's still, my point is, he's still top 5. He was still top 5 power forward. He was still top 5 power forward. You can't give me 6 guys better than him
I'm
at
not
that
arguing
position.
Power forward, I'm talking about as a player. That's
But
all
you
I'm
just
talking
compared
about.
differently.
No,
You
no,
just said
no.
Dan Marino
If I
as a top
told
5
you-
quarterback. You just said top 5 quarterback.
Okay,
He's not.
Dan
but-
Marino is one of
Which
the
he's not.
top 5
No.
players of all time.
Come on, that's not true. No, I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't even put him in the top 5 all
No,
time.
Marino?
I'm not
No,
saying,
yeah,
I'm
no.
not saying,
Oh,
No.
hell no.
Then
No.
he was 20.
No, you can't do that. He's not. He is not top
I'm
5
not saying he
players all the
was.
time.
I'm
You don't
saying
like-
you can make an argument because of how great he was and point to all his stats and everything. That's the point.
You couldn't
If
make
you
an
can't-
argument,
you
but
can't
you
make
can
a
only make an argument on
comparison
positional
between-
players.
Listen, it's different. A basketball player is playing in all ends. He's playing. He has all the similar responsibility. Everyone, for the most part, has similar responsibility for the most part in the NBA. But football specialized. So don't tell me you know with Barkley, well, we're specializing him as a power forward and he does nothing else. Marino specialized. Every quarterback is specialized.
I
I
don't
got to
care.
give you the goofy aspect there, buddy. I got to give you the goofy aspect on that one. Charles Barkley, first of all, did Dan Marino ever win an MVP? Did he win an MVP?
Not sure that he did.
Charles Barkley on Michael Jordan's watch won an MVP.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Marino won any.
Yeah, Charles Barkley was a heck of a player.
He's more than a heck of a player. He was an
Well, he did
elite
win-
player. He was an
He did
elite
win
player.
MVP in 84. He
84.
won MVP in 84, yeah.
The 5,000, yeah. I figured the 5,000 year.
Which
Yeah.
was the year they went to the Super Bowl, I think, wasn't it? And we thought,
Yes, it was.
oh, they'll be back. Don't worry, it's inevitable that they're going to win.
Yeah, and also Michael Jordan's watch when Phoenix played the Bulls.
Pete Marinovich, yeah.
Okay, I mean Jordan got the better of him.
I think that's
He did, but he's Michael Jordan. My point is, you had the greatest of all time beat you there.
Phoenix Sun team led by Barkley.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyway,
So a little bit better than great. I think he was an elite. He was an elite player.
How the hell you go down
Barkley
this
was
road?
elite. Barkley was a
Jumping
great
Jack
player. I
Flash
mean,
over here.
there's no taking it away from him. But I'm not putting down Charles Barkley here.
Would
I'm
you?
just
Round mound of rebound.
That's right. There's a reason why he's got a nickname. Anybody with a great nickname is a great player in the NBA or in any sport, to tell you the truth. Just like Mawson. Mawson has become what happens when you get the ball caught on you in your face. That's Mawson. Who did that come from? Randy Moss, one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. So there you go. Anyway. Yeah.
Who never won a Super Bowl, by the way.
Yeah, never won a Super Bowl.
yeah. Listen, it's Don Shula, who guys like Keith put in his short list of probably the greatest 3 coaches of all time.
Say I do not. So thanks for speaking for me. But no.
Okay. I mean, that people do. Shula had Marino all those years. He didn't give him a supporting cast.
Marino is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And one thing I will give him credit for is that he never had 1,000-yard rusher ever in his career. He never had to offset anything offensively. He never had a great running back under his watch. And so people thought he would be back.
They built a team for him to throw the football too. So it's not really fair to say. I mean, they didn't have 1,000-yard rusher because Dan Marino was the quarterback as well. You can swing it both ways.
Right. Fair enough.
I mean, it's kind of like this in any sport. It's kind of hard to really. I mean, in basketball, it's a little bit easier because you only got 5 people on a court, so one person can dominate, like Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Magic Johnson, something like that. But like in a game that you have 22 people playing on a football field. Or baseball, for instance, it's hard to have a GOAT as like Tom Brady. I don't refer to Tom. I don't refer to Tom Brady as a GOAT in the fact that he was the greatest player. I give because he's the greatest leader ever. That dude would will teams into winning Super Bowls. He was like that was all his lifelong goal was to get every team he had into a Super Bowl. That's leadership. That's why he's the GOAT to me. Not necessarily his playing, because he's had bad games, and he is the best quarterback ever. Because of his leadership, he's great.
What do you got to say, Jack? I see it on your face, Jack. What you got to say?
Barry Sanders. Everybody calls him to go to running back. That dude didn't win a damn Super Bowl. He didn't have his team. He couldn't get his team to win a Super Bowl. That's because it's a team sport. That's what I'm trying to allude to. Whereas basketball is not like that.
Jerry West couldn't win for Wilton.
Yeah,
whoa. I don't want you to hang on the Barkley thing. It's a team sport. Basketball, one guy can take over a game more so than for the most part, in any other sport. I know baseball it's the pitcher, but the pitcher starting pitchers just pitch once every few games, as far as impacting the team. Basketball, a player can dominate and take over. One player is a major difference maker. Major.
Yeah,
I just thought of a guy. Elgin Baylor was another guy. Did he ever win a championship? I don't think he was gone when the Lakers finally won. I think Elgin Baylor.
He played 9 games the last year, but
it doesn't
very marginal. Yeah.
And without Will Chamberlain, Jerry West never wins. So what do we? Again. So.
Yeah, I mean,
and a little bit of an asterisk with the player piggybacking off what you said. You would think the size and greatness of Will Chamberlain and what he's done that he would have won more championships than he did.
Well, he lacked character, Will Chamberlain. He wasn't a closer. I saw him play. I could tell you his stats were great. He would dominate, but you're up 3-1 against the Celtics. When he was with the Sixers in the playoff series, they blow that. Russell's last year, they're up 2-0 against the Celtics when he changed was with the Lakers. Excuse me. Then they're up 3-2. They blow that series. The next year, Willis Reed comes hobbling onto the court, limping on the court. All Chamberlain is doing is looking to see whether Reed's coming out or not. Bill Russell said he would have chopped his other leg off. About Willis Reed, I mean, finish this guy. But Chamberlain was weak mentally, unfortunately, was weak mentally. I mean, he came up with legendary games. He was great. Some guys aren't closers.
Fact
Chamberlain
remains,
just
Jerry West
wasn't
never
a
won without
closer,
Chamberlain either.
great as he was.
This is true, but he's the face of the NBA. So anyway,
Chamberlain
No,
not the
with
face
Jerry
of
West.
the
no,
Jerry
no.
West. Jerry
Jerry
No, I
West.
was talking about Chamberlain.
To
Yeah,
Talking
Keith-
about
to
Chamberlain.
Keith's point.
West did whatever he could do, you know, and West was haunted. They got that documentary on him. Frank Selby missed a shot. It went in and out when the Lakers played the Celtics the first year the Celtics started their dynasty run. If that shot went in at the buzzer, Lakers win the championship, and West is never haunted, really. You know, but then there's 6 finals losses in a row. That'll mess you up.
Well, that's kind of to your point that you brought up to start this conversation about name an NBA player that was great that didn't win championships. Jerry West almost was that guy
But they did win a championship.
with Wilt. Sorry, he never won without Wilt.
Yeah, Wilt won only one without him. What is Wilt? Jerry West was the best player on that team.
I'm not saying he wasn't, but I'm saying he never won until, you know, he had Chamberlain. I know they lost with him as well, but they also never won.
Did Magic? Yeah, I could argue that too. That Magic didn't win a championship without Kareem on the team.
Yes, he did. The final game when he wasn't there.
Okay. And who was the MVP of that series? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
It was still Kareem. Yes. But
okay, thank you.
But hey, but you're the guy that's talking about closing out games. You're the guy that's talking about closing out games. What was Magic's stat line in the game that Kareem wasn't there?
Magic is great. Magic is great. I'm not arguing that point at all. But Keith is just saying, well, he didn't win without so and so.
I'm just saying he didn't.
It doesn't diminish Magic at all. Magic was great.
I'm not trying to diminish Jerry West. I'm talking about he's one of the top 5 players in the NBA history, and nobody gives him credit for that.
I will tell you a perfect point about players that are great that can be greater when other players are added to their situation as a team. John Elway is a perfect example of that. John Elway is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL ever, and he didn't win a Super Bowl until who showed up in that team?
Terrell Davis.
Thank you. You got to have a running game. If you don't have a running game, you can't do
That's
that.
what I mentioned. That's why I was mentioning with Dan Marino had towards the latter of his point of his career, they should have had somebody on the ground that could, you know. But then you have to look at it. Wasn't just.
Good morning, by the way.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Miss Linda. Oh my goodness. I got a question for everybody. Jack, I wanted to mention to you earlier. Who do you compare Wembanyama to? Is he like a comparison to like he's a guy that can shoot the 3, but does he look like Wilt Chamberlain? Or does he look like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar out there?
Kareem, you know what? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he was so good. He could have played guard. That's how good Jabbar was. But obviously, they weren't going to have him play guard. But I've seen Jabbar bring the ball up the court a number of games. But that wasn't his role. His role was to go underneath. So that's who he's most like. But in the modern NBA, he's going to be allowed to handle the ball more than Jabbar was.
I'd compare him to Bill Russell. Actually, I'd compare him to Russell more than.
Russell had no offense. He wasn't.
He could have played. That wasn't what he was there for, though. He could have scored more points on that if he.
Not really. He wasn't. He wasn't a natural shooter. He wasn't an offensive force. Russell, he was just maybe the greatest defensive player ever. You could maybe make that argument. But
I see some similarities. And I think Russell would have been more of an offensive threat if he needed to be. He didn't need to be.
He could. Wilt Chamberlain himself said Bill couldn't put the ball in the basket if you gave him a ladder. Well, you know, when they were like feuding, and that had some say. He averaged 15 points a game. He averaged 15 points a game, Russell, during an era where you could pad your stats. He just didn't do it offensively.
Didn't need to.
He couldn't. He couldn't. He played to his strength. He was incredible defensively, Russell. Incredible.
Greatest winner in the history of sports.
I think the thing about Wembanyama that makes him such a special player in today's NBA is he's an equal keel type of player. He uses his size. He uses his strengths to dominate games. Like one game he might be a defensive player and he might shut down everything the other team's throwing at him. The next game he'll score 40 points because that's what they need, the offense. Nobody can stop him. So I mean, we always affectionately call him the human cheat code, but damn, he is a human cheat code. That dude can do everything. And if he's playing balanced ball, you ain't beating San Antonio that night, because if he puts up 25 and gets 12 block shots, there ain't no way you're winning that game.
And in fairness to Jack, he's only going to get better. I agree. Without
a doubt. I agree.
In fairness, he's going to get better.
There's just his only kryptonite is just his only kryptonite would be to stay healthy. That's the thing.
Yes, that's his biggest kryptonite. You got it.
And you know what I like about him too? Tall, thin, but he sends a message. I'm not soft. He'll mix it up. Like that elbow he threw the other day, that was dirty.
That's not tough.
That sends a message. I'm not taking anything from anyone. You think you're going to rough me up? I'm going to smack you right in your face. Yeah. And that'll cause opponents to back off that this guy's not soft.
That's not how you show your toughness. Sorry.
Hey, Bad Boys did it for a long period of time. But anyway, they changed the rules in the NBA because of it. But I mean, I get where I like that kind of NBA. I like the tough thing, because you know what? Really, basketball is not a contact sport. The only thing you're contacting is the floor constantly, running, or if you fall and bust your ass, that kind of stuff. But other than that, you're not really checking anybody. You can have a hard screen now. I'm not saying that.
It wasn't the 90s, O'Brien, to your point.
Yes.
The Pistons, the Knicks, the Bulls, those teams were all physical teams in the 90s.
I like that. I like that type of basketball, because
but they weren't
playing
just,
to mean something.
Yeah. Except for Lambeer, we weren't just, winding up. Mahorn, you had a bunch of guys, actually, that did that stuff.
The game was different then because of the three-point shot nowadays.
Now, let me ask you this. With Bill Laimbeer, did he deliberately try to hurt players? Because I know Larry Bird hated Laimbeer. The one play on the Bad Boys we hated. The others, he gave respect to, like Mahorn and Isaiah. Okay, they might hit me hard, especially Mahorn, but the intent wasn't to injure. He felt, Bird, that Laimbeer deliberately tried to injure him. Do you agree with that?
I mean, love him, hate him. Laimbeer was Laimbeer. I mean,
I'm taking a fifth on this.
Yeah, right.
Let's just say this: there was a Nintendo video game for Bill Laimbeer, and it wasn't for his shots. It was for beating crap out of people.
Brownness, yeah.
No, it's one thing it was one thing to beat on someone and get physical with them and keep knocking them down. I respect that. I get that. But if you really are trying to injure a guy, that's crossing a line already.
Well, I mean, like the instance against the Bulls when the Pistons played him in the 90s, there was one time when Jordan ran down the lane, and I think it was Sally that clotheslined him. He clotheslined him. They got a foul for it, obviously, but he clotheslined him.
Yeah,
that would have been a technical foul, and they would have got thrown out today. But he clotheslined him. So it depends. It depends on what Pistons were trying to do what in that. If they were all given a bad boy role into stopping players that were scoring. So, and any team, it didn't make a difference. So, yeah, he was Shock's coach. He was a great. Shock's coming back to the WNBA. He was a great coach. Yeah. Anyway, we are going to wrap up today's show,
boxing match,
and remember to check out Keith Ingle right after this on the Stream of Consciousness. And everybody else, have a great day. Next Sunday, 8 a.m.
See you guys. Take care.